not stalling, Vish. I know you're upset, but Manchester City are the Community Shield holders.
The big one.
They finally beat Manchester United at a final at Wembley, but they needed penalties. They did need penalties, of course. And it was Johnny Evans who was the man, another Evans, who missed the penalty. I don't know what
What was he trying?
I don't know, Peter.
He looked like someone who voted in that poll. I could definitely
do
this.
I'm going to dink it. No, I'm not going to hit it hard, and I've done both, and it's not worked.
It was a penalty that screams to me, how am I 36 years old and taking a penalty at Wembley from Man United?
At this early on in the pecking order.
Akanji basically did the same penalty, but did it properly.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Well, he learned from his error.
From his error,
in the Euros, of course.
Fascinating.
Maybe Andre Onana's tactics of trying to put Erling Haaland got in the Manchester United players' heads. I don't know.
The goal looks so much smaller on that side.
It was the way he was like, here, put it here, because I'm obviously going to dive there. And Erling Haaland was just like, this is so pedestrian.
Beneath me.
Yeah, this is just like, we
all
know you're going to move there, but well before I've kicked it. Thanks very much. Don't ever do that.
And your momentum goes that way.
Yes,
put it in the other corner.
Yeah, what would have been the smart thing to do exactly would have been the old double bluff.
But as we learnt last week on the Ramble, Andre Onana was telling everyone he's going to take some serious risks this season.
Was that a risk?
He's going to have a lovely old time. It just said, it might not count as a risk. What it does count as is exactly what Onana was saying, which is basically, I don't fucking care what's going on at Man United. I'm doing whatever I want. No one's going to stop me.
Yeah, quite enjoyable though. But yes, it was a penalty shootout win, 7-6. But it was 1-1 in normal time. Both goals coming at the end of the game, of course. Man City named quite a youthful lineup. Did they not? We saw Oscar Bob again, which was enjoyable. James McAtee as well. Nico O'Reilly. But I mean, really,
is this how Pep's going to sort of have his presumably final season as Man City was, just blooding in a lot of youngsters?
Yeah,
hope so.
Yeah,
be fun, wouldn't it?
It seems like that's why you can see why now he was fairly relaxed about Julian Alvarez moving on if he doesn't move on.
Oh well, that's all tangled up now, isn't it?
It is, but he seems like he feels like he's got a lot of cover. Producer Finn, who's a big Sheffield United fan, was saying James McAtee is absolutely brutal without the ball. He said he's such a hard-working player.
Yeah,
it was interesting to see him play. I thought
good to see him in there.
Yeah,
we didn't see the young lad Harry Amas that we were talking about last week, but we did see Marcus Rashford started through the middle for Manchester United.
Oh, he missed some chances, boy.
Yeah.
He missed some chances.
His worst miss was probably from out wide as well. He found his way onto the left.
Well, Ten Hag said only just about a week ago he was better suited to playing out wide on Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, but I don't think that means that he can't play him through the middle for this game, because United just don't have any strikers really at the moment, especially rather like up to speed, fighting fit strikers. But yeah, I mean, they looked tidy. I thought
they
did, but again, it was against. I took more from Man City than I did from Manchester United's performance, just because McAtee's quite an interesting one for a start, because it feels like maybe a year ago the conversation about him was slightly different in that it felt like he wasn't quite the high grade that you expect of City players, but he obviously benefited from so many senior forwards being away on international duty over the summer, and it seems like there's a level of trust there as well. And as Luke was saying, obviously such a hard worker outside. Sorry, when he doesn't have the ball. And you'd also think, looking at Cole Palmer, looking at that effect that Palmer had at Chelsea, not necessarily saying that he would go and immediately just be the man at another club, but you look at that and think, God, us in here, we're so much better than a lot of stuff out there. This could be me.
It's almost like when he goes out on loan somewhere, it doesn't. It's almost like they're speaking a different language. Almost doesn't make sense as much.
Yeah,
and then when he slots back into that ecosystem, it makes perfect sense instantly.
I reckon don't go back to Sheffield United for a start. Go somewhere else.
Ever. Yeah.
But the player who I kind of left kind of sighing about, and also just is just going to batter people going forward over the next however many years he decides to. If he decides to keep playing, and I mean that in that it seems like he's the kind of player who could do anything, or person who could do anything he wanted, but Oscar Bob is, I don't know, we've already seen bits of him before, the skill against Newcastle to score that late winner. He looked like he's kind of grown a foot over the summer, and little things like he cuts in all game, and then the little touch to his right to set up the equaliser for Bernardo Silva was everything. He's got everything at his feet, and he's obviously got a lot going on upstairs, because just the forethought to be like, everyone's going to go the other way, I'm just going to tap it here and cross it with my right foot. He looks unbelievable.
Norway are going to get dangerously close to actually qualifying for a tournament. Right?
Well,
you say that, and then Solskjaer's going to be their manager. It's going to be all right.
I thought the big story of the Community Shield was that Eric Ten Hag appears to have given Jadon Sancho a new lunchbox.
Yeah.
He's featuring. He's featuring pre-season. He's featuring at a showpiece occasion at Wembley.
That's right.
If there's one game, if you're someone who's got a personal axe to grind against one of your players, you're not giving them the Community Shield at Wembley. A lovely day out
against Man City
in the summer. But he's featuring now. It's interesting because he seems like behind the scenes, it seems like he's still being farmed out to everyone who wants to sign him.
Man United
foot
Jadon Sancho.
Yeah.
What do you think of Mason Mount, Vish?
I think
I want to see him back playing football.
So do I.
Obviously, injuries I'm talking about there, but I still wonder where he fits into this side.
I know, and I think I have to disassociate the sweet little boy chic and basically to talk about it in cold footballing terms. I do like him. I feel like he needs a lot of stuff happening around him to be good, and then he plays his part in that. But it's a bit like positionally, he's a bit like Mushroom, like. Takes on flavour brilliantly, can facilitate any dish, but in a chaotic kind of sometimes listless system. And to be fair, it was listless for a lot of last season. He's not the player who's going to pull you out from the brink in part because those players are few and far between.
He seems like a fun guy to be with.
Very good. At times
a long
at
time in the
Chelsea,
fridge.
At times at Chelsea, though, when he was playing there, he was their standout player. So
wash him before use.
Because he played a very similar role for England.
Yeah.
Because he would kind of get the ball in the final third. And he'll be really energetic and play it about. He wouldn't waste the ball. He very rarely wasted the ball. Mason Mount very rarely lost the ball rather. And I feel like he has to do. He's got to do a little bit too much because sometimes he's been played at the base of midfield, which is not his position, and then he's been played out wide to a team that doesn't really have fullbacks, so that doesn't help, or a functioning forward at the time. So I just I don't really know what position he plays. Truth be told, because
for Manchester United,
for Manchester United, because you've got Fernandes further forward, and you're like,
you're Rashford and Garnacho. I just still look at that and think, why on earth did he go there?
Yeah,
in that system, and I can't see it happening. And
can I have a final word on him?
Yeah,
Matt Ritchie's come home. Matt Ritchie's already come home.
Right.
Come on, Mason.
Yeah.
You know, we'll find a spot for you, don't worry.
Portsmouth
we'll find a landing spot for you.
Regrettably, we will have more on Portsmouth later.
Wait and see. It might be fun.
Yeah. For me, the big takeaway, though, from the Community Shield was New England interim manager Lee Carsley was in the Royal Box.
There we go. Perks. It's the perks already. You haven't managed the game yet. And you're hobnobbing Carsley.
I love it.
Does anyone look less like a hobnobber as well than Lee Carsley?
I don't think so. It's a shame we have to use the word interim. That came in with Rafa Benitez at Chelsea. That was the first time I think we always had to put interim manager.
Yeah.
For my money,
Gus Hiddink maybe.
Oh yeah, Hidding's a great one.
Was he? Yeah, it was definitely
about 48 times.
Yeah,
Chelsea,
it was always like interim manager.
Who's the guy who clears up all the mess in Pulp Fiction? Winston Wolfe.
The Wolf,
yes.
Yeah, like that's what Hiddink was. Yeah,
he was a bit like that. He was a bit like that. Yes, this is what a lot of us thought that Carsley would be interim.
Called by you
manager.
a while back, Marcus.
It was a fairly easy call though.
Take it.
The bigger call, of
course,
the
win.
is who follows him.
Yeah.
A young Manchester United mascot was seen asking Pep Guardiola at Wembley to become the next England manager. He said, "Sign for England and win us the World Cup." And stop. And the bit you didn't hear was, "Stop managing Man City, please."
Yeah.
Because he was a Man United mascot.
Probably looking down and going, "I'm working, mate."
Yeah.
Not in my place of work. It's embarrassing.
Not now, Mason.
Maybe Carsley will decide to change the font, the typeface on the England shirts, like Man City have.
I hate that typeface.
Horrific results.
I hate that font.
Horrible.
What are they thinking with that?
Based on Noel Gallagher's handwriting, apparently.
Oh, yeah, are you being serious?
No way.
Yes.
Oh.
What do you mean, Noel?
What?
So somebody's parked up. The writing on the back of the shirts is horrific. So almost like Comic Sans.
Yeah.
It's based on Noel Gallagher's handwriting, I believe.
Mate.
So did he go in and say, "This is my handwriting"?
He didn't sign every shirt, 3 per player.
What Marcus says, how do they know what his handwriting is? He's not famous for handwriting.
Well, I presume he sort of submitted his handwriting. I don't think they can. I think it would be a bit of a push to kind of just steal his handwriting. I presume he was involved in the process.
It's the last thing we need.
It's the last thing
Weird,
we
isn't
need.
it? Because the definitely maybe handwriting is not his handwriting.
No.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's very strange. That
Which other members of Oasis haven't signed their name on stuff?
I was going to say,
A couple of them probably can't write.
I think it's best that there's a lot of spelling mistakes. You know, whose handwriting that was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're not going to stick with that the whole season, sure. Are they really?
I don't know. It's horrific. It stinks of like it doesn't look particularly readable either.
No.
Which is an accessibility situation
Exactly.
as well. Yeah, they shouldn't be allowed to do this.
I think it's poor, and I think they
it's
should
poor.
change it. I think they should
Should be a
change it.
standard font across all league teams.
It looks like the font of the Rainforest Cafe, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It's horrible. Absolutely rank.
Going back to what I was saying earlier, I think that young Manchester United mascot is setting the dreadful. He's setting the groundwork early, and I tell you something: if a whole country that is not where you're from are saying, "Come on, lead us," it's incredibly seductive.
His answer yesterday in the press conference was quite interesting.
It was interesting.
It was because he had every opportunity to do almost what Klopp did.
Yeah.
And Klopp just went, nah.
Yeah, Klopp was absolutely unequivocal.
And obviously, the big question mark around Guardiola will be the finances, right? Because the amount of money
You can't sign players for England.
yeah, I know. I just mean how much they pay him, and that's still going to be a square they need to circle with Klopp and whoever. But then, to an extent, really, unless you go for a proper interim internal appointment, that's always going to be a problem because club managers at the top level are paid a lot of money. So presumably they've kind of factored that in. But I thought, it's about to start the new season, so I don't get too derailed with England chat because people are probably fed up of it.
I think we're all.
But I thought Guardiola had a really big opportunity there just to nip that in the bud at the start of the season,
but
and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It was predictable for me.
Oh, really?
I think that his arm is there for the twisting, and we all need to play our part.
Are you going to give instructions at the end of the show on how people can play their part?
Indeed.
Yeah. Like those political podcasts trying to get people to sign up to register to vote. You're going to do that with Pep Guardiola?
Like when he always seems to come on and colour, English players whenever they're opponents. Like he did it with McAtee yesterday, who I appreciate was his own player. But do you think England players, as they play City throughout the season, should do that to him?
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Okay.
And we need to get Nathan Redmond involved somehow.
Imagine if he took it and then put Phil Foden had like a really disappointing tournament. What would people do? They'd have nowhere to turn, would they?
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, going back to Manchester United, they're closing in on signing Matthjis de Ligt from Bayern Munich. Also, Noussair Mazraoui for a combined fee of £50 million from Bayern Munich.
Where's this money come from?
Other sales, hopefully, Peter. Mazraoui's arrival depends on Wan-Bissaka leaving, so there you are. There's that one. Now, De Ligt is reportedly being investigated for ramming into. Yeah,
it's nice to see like a pre situation.
I wondered why he was going from Bayern to Manchester United.
Yeah. You've got to get me out.
Anyway,
I've got to go.
Anyway, perhaps related, I don't know.
Right.
He's been investigated for ramming into a parked car near Bayern's training ground last week.
An Interpol related hit and run.
It's being signed by that vacuum cleaner salesman in Breaking Bad.
But yeah, so I mean, if it's seen as like a hit and run, although obviously nobody was hurt, it was just the car that was.
Thank God no one knows where he's going.
It's not exactly the perfect crime, is it?
Yeah, you're still
Fabrizio, shut the fuck up, man. I'm on the run here.
You're still outside the EU. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So I mean,
Is he trying to Julian Assange?
he's holed up at Carrington or wherever
His
the training
embassy
ground
is basically the dressing room and the pitch at Old Trafford.
Yeah. Can't play in away games.
What do you mean anything like that? There's a fucking hole in the roof.
My car was rear-ended by a drunk Frenchman at the weekend at South Mim Station.
Wow.
Right.
During the Olympics as well.
Yeah,
Exactly.
technically
Probably
hate
just
crime.
celebrating. Yeah, exactly.
Does it need work?
No, it doesn't, because
It's a tank.
2 tons of tank.
Yeah, it's a tank.
And how is the Frenchman?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How do you know he was drunk?
I've got his phone number. Not rang it yet. To know everything's fine.
You went down to Dover, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you put him on that train.
How do you know? How do you know he was drunk?
He clearly French.
Was it after 11?
It was Emmanuel Macron.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry to hear that, Pete. Please, the sentry's
All
okay,
good,
mate.
yeah, I'm
Did
glad.
not dislodge the rear camera I fitted over the weekend as well. So good stuff.
Lovely.
Well, I mean, Manchester United, it's no point kind of assessing the signings Man United make because they instantly turn shit or they get injured. So, I mean, which do you want, De Ligt? Choose which one you want.
He's had a couple of... he's had issues with injury. He'd be on, quite a decent pay packet.
Well, you'd be on enormous money.
Come on over.
Yeah, exactly what we need.
Step right in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He said, I spoke to Bastian Schweinsteiger. He said, absolutely, get yourself over there.
How do you fancy being the new Rafa Varane? Depends what you mean by that.
Are we going to play Champions League? Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I've noticed a wrap up around a hole in your finances there. I'd love to fit in.
Oh dear. Well, so he's reportedly been a naughty boy, but we'll have to see how that works out. So yeah, I mean, apparently the worst and most severe sentence could be jail time, although it seems very unlikely. Probably.
But they always say that. They're like, Messi's tactic. Oh, he could face up to 20. Look, he's still avoided it.
And what was the verdict? Oh, we told him not to do it again.
The newspaper that reported it as well, they always have to get in there that it was a £63,000 car.
Yeah.
So we don't need to know that.
That feels low for a footballer.
Well, exactly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anyway, does
Probably
it?
left a glug wine, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Glug.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all a massive disgrace, but there we are.
There we go.
There we are. Before the break, let's talk about the Olympic men's final. Peter, you mentioned the referee earlier on. Thierry Henry's France lost 5-3 to Spain after extra time. Spain, they just don't lose finals. I really wanted them to lose a final.
It's a belter of a game.
It was a belter of a game, yeah.
A little dink festival from Perez as well.
Wow. Dinkfest.
Dinkfest.
Yeah. The composure that Mr. Camelo had.
To do it twice, though, it's very, 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 very rare. Because you think the keeper would have it in his, he did this last time, he's done it again.
The fifth goal was a goal that England fans would have complained about if England had scored it. Because the keeper just absolutely launched it down the pitch.
Yeah.
Oh, route one stop, Southgate out. Yeah. When he went through on goal and scored the fifth goal, I had a load of England fans in my local pub shouting Southgate out.
Did you?
Southgate out.
Well, if you will go to these pubs, Luke.
No, I can't help it.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible fight back from France though. VAR drama. Right at the end of the 90 minutes, the referee did an incredible job, did he not?
It was an amazing performance by the referee.
Yeah, despite his microphone.
I don't. Well, yeah, Pete's right to point that out as well.
Disgusting.
What the referee in this situation has done, which makes him look ridiculous, is he's been so sure that it's not a penalty that he's gone way over the top, and to the point where the commentator said something like, referee says absolutely no way, no chance, says the referee, and then guess what, 2 minutes later he's awarding the penalty by VAR, and he doesn't seem to realise that he's the one that's made the mistake there, and it's been overturned, and he also did a great thing where he wandered away from the VAR screen, not letting on what he was going to do, and then he went penalty. It was dramatic.
You expect better from the ghoul from Fallout.
It's or Alan Partridge as a zombie in the Winton Travel Tavern. It smacked of a referee from Brazil who thought, I'll teach these Europeans crucible of football, is it? Yeah, we'll see about that.
We will. And lovely to see Matthjis so coolly convert the penalty.
Very savable.
Single-handedly pulling apart Andy Brassell's reputation every time he scores.
Indeed. When you say it was savable, Peter, I'm sure he waited for the keeper to move then.
He did.
It was very cool.
But what if the keeper suddenly was able to move real quick in the other direction?
What if?
Yeah.
Like Andre Onana?
Yeah, exactly.
He moved quickly in one direction.
Were you sad for Thierry Henry only getting the silverfish?
You know what? I found it funny that there was like the who's who of like French dignitaries in the crowd, and it was nice seeing them sad for a bit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but for Henry, because I know you have this opinion of Henry that you think he's a bit of a ninny.
I do, totally.
I'm not totally far away from that, to be honest.
Well, no, I'm a little bit further away from it since Jules Breach corrected me.
Oh, did she? She said he was a good lad.
Yeah.
But I think
and everyone's got their on-screen persona and all that kind of stuff. So he's often pushed into that corner by a lot of people. So I have a bit of sympathy there.
And I've always found that side of him actually quite endearing because I don't think he has the requirement to do that for his personal brand, because his personal brand is all about being chic and cool, very presentable, very calm. And seeing him quite upset with a group of players that he's clearly bonded with, they've been together for like close to 3 months now. They were training together during the Euros, having gone to France maybe I think 2 weeks into the Euros, because they ended up there was this idea that they might bring a couple of players over as reserves, and they didn't do that.
Does Killian fancy it?
Yeah. But I mean, I was going the other way, but I like that. But seeing him that upset, like quite genuinely upset, I was a bit like, oh, shit. Like I always thought you had this idea of wanting to be a manager. I didn't know you actually felt to being a manager as well.
Yeah,
I thought it was quite nice.
Well, I think as well, due to that whole Argentina bollocks as well, when they beat them, it was such a great win and justice was done and all that sort of stuff that I thought, oh, go on and win it now.
Yeah. That was actually, that was definitely the game that turned me, yeah.
I liked it when he touched Carragher's leg.
Yeah, that was good. Mm-hmm. That was
surprising to see Carragher down there, people in Paris. But there we are.
You don't have a good luck, don't you?
It was surprising to see Snoop Dogg.
Great stuff. He was everywhere.
Yeah, no sort of questioning about recreational uses from him as there was for a rapper. I forget who it was in Japan. You can't come to Tokyo because we know what you've done. Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg got $1 million to be Snoop Dogg for a month. It's outrageous.
It's quite hard that if you listen to his music, you're not entirely sure if he did it. So
the good about Snoop Dogg is he throws himself into it as well. You want me to dress up like a dresser? I'll do that.
Yeah.
No problem. I'm up for it.
Proper giggle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Coming up in the second half, we've got a little bit of a Football League roundup for you, everybody. Some Harry Kane and Tottenham Hotspur stuff. And I'm angry with Liverpool Football Club. See you in a moment.
So yesterday in the press conference, I asked you a question saying that you have never lost a qualification game in your career, and you asked me those matches.
I forgot Tottenham.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. Obviously, Jose Mourinho's
brilliant.
A press conference of his at Fenerbahce. Thanks to friends of the Ramble, Jacko and Andrew, for sending us that clip.
It's a joint effort.
Lovely. So many people would have been across that. You can become a friend of the Ramble too by heading over to patreon.com/Football Ramble. You'll get access to the Discord where you can chat with us and other Ramble listeners and get ad-free episodes of the Ramble up front and on the continent. And a reminder that if you want to get in touch with your stories from pre-season, questions for the mailbag, or in response to anything at all, then email us show@footballramble.com. That's show@footballramble.com. Staying with Jose Mourinho for a moment, it did take a grand sum total of 20 minutes for him to get his first yellow card in the Turkish Super League. Ranting and raving he was in the touchline, and when he got shown the yellow card, it was as if he had the look of a man who was thinking, sorry, you think you're why I don't, do you understand? The rules don't apply to me. I've lowered myself to come here.
Yeah.
You're lucky I'm here.
Exactly.
Show a bit of respect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's looking very well rested. About as tanned as I've ever seen.
He looks so tanned.
Oh my goodness.
Tanned.
He looks like he spent a good amount of time.
Yeah.
He looks like he spent more time doing whatever the fuck he wants this summer than Wayne Rooney has. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He looks like he's been right down the south, probably down near Bodrum. Lovely bit of sailing.
He'll be on Love Island next with that tan.
What, Wayne Rooney? I hope so.
Dzeko's goal in that was obviously set up by, not obviously, but set up by Alisson Maximin.
There you go.
But it was so unbelievably loose play that Dzeko just sort of like wafted it in. And
Joe can have a lovely time.
Yeah, he's got a great.
You like a waft.
I love a waft. Yeah.
When he's booked, Mourinho, he's saying to the referee, calm down.
Yep.
He's telling him to calm down.
Yeah, keep your head.
I know you're excited to see me.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a long season ahead of us.
It's like John Cena doing a Make-A-Wish.
Hello. You want me to sign that yellow card, don't you?
I'd love him to be eating a baklava while the referee goes in goes in to see the referee. Oh, you can say he's booked a Jose Mourinho today.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Right, it's time for a Football League roundup. Portsmouth had a barn burner at Ellen Road.
Is it the first official barn burner of the season? I think it's got to be.
Yeah, it has to be.
They were rifling them in from all over the place. Get in the box and shoot, for crying out loud.
It was brilliant.
Blackburn on Friday night, 4-2.
That was great as well. It's what the Championship does.
It's what the Championship does. Yeah, I tell you what, Portsmouth, they thought they'd won it in the 92nd minute, and then a few minutes later, they thought they'd lost it when Aronson was through on goal.
Brilliant chance.
What a chance to win it.
I didn't know how to feel.
I can't believe he missed.
Because before the game, I'd have snapped your hand off for a draw.
Yep.
At Ellen Road, opening day of the season, first game back in the Championship.
You go 3-2.
Yeah, then the way they played, they went toe-to-toe, basically. Oh. And then they went 3-2 up, and you're like, fucking dreamland stuff.
Here we go.
And then the equaliser, okay, disappointing. And then that, and you're like, fucking hell, we got away with one there. It's incredible roller coaster of emotions. I went to Gosport Borough because that game kicked up 12:30. I watched that, and then I went to Gosport Borough at 3. They lost 1-0 to Frome Town, but that's like the local team that everyone will go to.
You're just laughing at the name Frome.
No, I'm loving how much you're into all this.
Well,
you watch Portsmouth, then you went to see Gosport Borough.
because when Pompey are away, that's where all the Pompey fans go.
Yeah, nice.
So it's quite a casual affair, right? So that's where all the chat was, and people were just absolutely buzzing to be back in the Championship. So I think there's a lot of positives. Few players to come back as well.
You're buzzing. You're buzzing.
I know.
Big Pompey weekend for Lukey.
We haven't seen
and he slept with his cousin.
we haven't. Yeah, exactly.
Don't fucking let him move on from that.
We haven't seen you this buzzing for, I don't know, about 11 or 12 years from Portsmouth, about Portsmouth.
Because of the football. Because of the football specifically.
And that's why you started behaving erratically.
You've got to celebrate. You've got to celebrate these things.
But I mean, you can see why Everton are interested in. Is it Nonto?
Yes, the Leeds player.
I've never seen such a big smile in that league, right? And Everton, this is going to be like their Champions League of turning a smile around. They're going to be like, I want access to this massive smile, and I'm going to make it frown.
We're not going to turn it upside down. We're going to turn it into the smile from the horror film Smile.
Yes.
Hello, is that Leeds? We'll pay you £15 million to make that man depressed. I feel like when you see some of the players that Leeds have got on display there, plucky little Portsmouth going toe to toe with players still to come back. We took on the topics, Marcus.
Yeah, you did.
We took on the topics.
There you go.
And we came away with a point. Yeah. I was very, very happy with it.
I think
it was great. It looked like proper, the shackles are off. We're going to shoot from everywhere. And it was so good.
I spoke to a friend of mine who's a Leeds fan, and they were saying, typical us, we play very well in parts, and they can't even let us feel good for a last-minute equaliser because we fucking miss a sitter after that.
Tom Bellingham, P1 presenter, he's a big Leeds fan, and he and I were bantering on WhatsApp throughout the game. He was saying, like, I find that Man City fans still sometimes do this as well. Oh, typical us. It's like you don't really get to say
I can't stand that. And also as well,
I think over the last few seasons, if you discount like the promotion season with Bielsa and that first season in the Premier League, I think Leeds fans, to a point, there is a generation that are justified for feeling like typical us.
Sure.
Fine,
even though they're quite a successful team all the time.
Man City, no.
No, of course not.
You have to understand the vast majority of football clubs, it's typical us.
Yeah.
Because the majority of football clubs don't win leagues.
Literally the only reason I'm on the show as a Manchester United fan is a typical us.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely right.
It's so typical.
But what
nice to see Matt Ritchie play, though.
Fantastic to see him come on. Yeah, exactly. He's not quite up to speed yet, I don't think, but everyone's buzzing about that as well.
Big buzzing.
That's why Mason Mount needs to come home. If Mason Mount has seen that...
Yeah.
On the day before he's had to get involved in the Community Shield, he's probably thought, what am I doing here?
Is Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain still playing in Turkey or something?
He
Get
is,
him back.
Yeah.
Is the banning order for the bellman tied into the fortunes for Pompey getting better?
Possibly. I had a big row. I mean, speaking of the Discord,
you've taken on the bell, though, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I had a little ding dong
after you slept with him.
Fuck's sake! I wish they're back in League One now. Let me talk about it last season.
How you get it? Is the bell passed on like a curse?
Yeah.
And then so you have to sleep with someone else.
Yeah. You're next. You're next, mate. It's part of my long con to get you on the show.
Oh dear!
To sleep with me, give me a bell.
It's the final act of the bell.
Yeah. I had a big row with someone on Discord, Leeds fan on Discord, arguing who was worse in terms of a celebrity fan, John Westwood, the bellman, or Jimmy Savile. And I would say a 40-plus year-long paedophile is worse than a bloke who stinks of BO with a bell.
It's a good point, actually, yeah.
Well, speaking of such things, did you see in League One, Bolton Wanderers, when they went to Leyton Orient, a fan was seen wearing a T-shirt that read, "Kill your local pedo."
Hey, support local businesses. Because if you don't support the local pedo killers, the multinationals will roll in.
The thing was, it's quite professionally done. It looks like he's bought that from somewhere.
I looked a bit like Noel Gallagher's handwriting to me.
Which one in particular? My brother.
Can I just say? So someone sent me
one of them.
That was at Leyton Orient. Someone who sent me that was a guy called Andrew Butler, who is a serious guy at Tortoise Media. That's the kind of stuff he does at the weekend. Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, yeah.
He wasn't wearing it. We should say he wasn't wearing it.
He saw it.
Yeah,
He saw it.
He's up there with like that MILF Hunter guy, that Newcastle guy looks like me.
Yeah,
with
is
the
a double
Newcastle
bluff.
shirt on, yeah. There's some horrific shirts out there.
So, Kill Your Local Pedo was on the back of his shirt. What did it say on the front?
That's a good point, actually.
It was spelt the American way as well, P-E-D-O.
Right.
So,
But that's how people. I think that's now people just adopt that kind of
Shorthand.
abbreviation.
language
Yeah,
always
right.
evolving, isn't it?
Nice.
Or
In the
regressing.
best way.
It's a beautiful thing.
I'm so angry. I don't have time for an A.
I can't do an extra A.
Blimey O'Reilly. Well, back in the Championship, Oxford United got off to a winning start against Norwich City. Big win. Hey, the fans were going wild in that car park behind the goal. It's so weird, isn't it? It's so weird, the Oxford United Stadium.
Yeah.
If they
They've got chairs.
at least they got some sort of chair.
Yeah.
But it was a great win. So well done them. Presumably their pigeon situation was dealt with. We hope there
Didn't
was
need Pete's dad.
Didn't need Pete's dad to go and kill those pigeons in
Flying
cold
around.
blood, which was great.
They got rid of canaries as well.
Yeah.
Like in your work, they saw them off.
I mean, no, it's pretty rock bottom stuff for Norwich City, isn't it? I mean, against
Yeah,
the
that's
promoted
grim.
side, they haven't signed anyone, and now they've got to watch Ipswich next weekend
Not ideal.
in the at the big table.
The big table, yeah. Well, is it as depressing as what happened to Wayne Rooney's Plymouth?
No, I watched that game.
No.
I watched the whole fucking thing.
Beaten did you?
Yeah.
God bless you, sir.
Just waiting to see. How many lingering shots were there of Wayne in the dugout?
What I would say, but I mean, Plymouth were, as bad as it gets, really.
Yeah.
And
They lost 4-0 to Sheffield Wednesday.
sorry, yeah, you should. Sorry, I don't mean to cut in.
That last goal where it was just like he had 5 minutes in the 6-yard box to finish it off, and he had 2 goals at it.
It's not great, and I think Sheffield Wednesday will be good this season. A lot of people do.
You can lose to a better side on
Yeah.
the opening day of the season, but the manner of it suggested that this is all over the place.
And I don't know if you guys saw it, but after the game, Rooney's post-match interview went on for about 5 minutes,
Right.
and he answered all the questions. Talked about how disappointed he was quite forensic in his analysis of how it went wrong. And
I wonder if that'll...
it doesn't look great given that he spent so much time doing media stuff throughout the summer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he hasn't worked hard, because clearly he's a really hard
I know
working
what you
guy.
mean, though.
But they were so far off it was unbelievable. I think every single goal came from a stoppable cross that wasn't stopped.
He mentioned that, didn't he? He was talking about like the crossing and various things. And he said he was angry. And we were talking about Rooney and Plymouth. Was it last week? And we were talking about it in a sense of it probably won't go that well. And I think we had to stop ourselves and go, well, hang on, let's give him a chat. Let's see how it goes. But you do look at this, and I do wonder, and also I wonder if, look, I know it's not the most high profile of jobs, but it's still a big job, and I wonder if his kind of honesty and
Works against him sometimes.
well, yeah, I wonder if he's too open. Maybe I mean we'll see, because if he's going to hammer the players like he did a bit there and talk quite long,
Would you see
and
the
he is
quote?
the star of the show. Yeah, well, I mean, a part of the quote was saying that he told his players that they will not play again if they perform like that. I know.
First game of the season, mate.
Yeah, exactly. I know these not huge Premier League stars, but
The first game of the season,
this.
the first game of the season thing is a funny old thing, because
It can be.
you will see it happen this weekend in the Premier League. There'll be some results. I mean, Aston Villa famously last year.
Friday night with
did really
Fulham,
well.
Hammer Man United.
Exactly, completely. That's definitely going to happen, but that's expected. That's
Yeah.
expected.
Yeah.
That would be a
Genuinely
surprise.
genuinely
would
glad
be,
we don't have a Saturday show. Go on.
There's a first game of the season vibe to all this, but what's also interesting is the juxtaposition between him and Danny Roll, who obviously spent the summer doing a bit of punditry and all that kind of stuff, and it's got almost as opposite an experience in football as Wayne Rooney. It's possible to have. He has to retire from football at age about 20 because of injuries or whatever, ends up really getting into coaching, builds his way up, and now is doing what people assume will be really great things at Sheffield Wednesday. And Wayne Rooney's obviously had this most storied career you can ever think of, wants to get into management. And when you hear Rooney speak, I remember him speaking before he took the Plymouth job. I think it was on the Gary Neville show, where he said, in management, I'm no one. I don't want to be anyone. I want to work my way up. I don't want, just because it's Wayne Rooney, them to hire me. So I'll happily, because Gary Neville asked him the old question that he always asks, would you be happy to manage in League Two? And he go, look, I've never managed anywhere before, really.
Yeah.
The Birmingham thing didn't work out, so I've got to start again. And the fact that he even took the Plymouth job, to one extent, is like, it's a positive thing for him to do. But you haven't got to be a football expert in any way, shape or form to see that yesterday and go, that was bad, really bad. Sheffield Wednesday will be good this season, but you didn't need to be good to beat Plymouth. They didn't need to be.
No.
The point you touched on as well before about seeing Wayne Rooney on TV, doing all this and doing like the Gary Neville podcast, and I think he did it a couple of times between now and the Euros. The problem he's going to have is, I imagine he's going to do just a few more punditry roles during the season because people liked him on that, and he obviously wants to keep his foot in that way. And
well, not necessarily. I think he might not.
No, I think he will.
Right.
And I think Plymouth fans will be annoyed by that. And it's kind of unfair on Rooney to a point, because all managers have free time. You just don't see what they do in their free time.
Yeah.
And this would be Rooney using his free time. But I suppose that's a balance
level.
he has to strike.
And at that level, you wouldn't be invited necessarily on to do punditry.
Yeah.
Unless you're Wayne Rooney,
Well, we'll
it's
see
about
if he
optics, though, isn't it? It's about optics, though, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
He could go to Dubai for a few days a week, like some other.
I always find it interesting how what seems to be overlooked if you're a player who's had the career that he's had is that you have to really want it to be a manager. Like, it's obviously completely sincere. I remember Jamie Carragher saying that I'm not going to go into management, and I'll tell you why, because I'm not going to get a big job. So I'm not going to win anything, and I don't want to move my family outside of the area. So if I'll have to look for a job somewhere, the chances are statistically I'm going to get fired pretty quickly, and I'm not going to win a trophy. Like, I'd rather.
It's a mug's game.
Yeah,
It really is.
So you've got to really want to do it.
Yeah.
Gary Neville tells that story about when he was at Valencia, and when just before he was sacked, when they were losing game after game. He said he noticed that the opposition managers, who had obviously grafted for this and were tactically far superior than he'd ever be, we looked at him and thought, how fucking dare you?
Really?
Yeah. You become a little bit of a target as well.
How dare you think you can come here and do this at a club like Valencia? That's and we're just going to show you that you can't.
Yeah,
and it's fair to say they did.
Yeah,
Plymouth though, they could take care of some of their admin though. I mean, Adam Forshaw's name was misspelled on the back of his shirt.
Yeah, that's basics.
Things like
that's
that.
not world class basics.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
Jake Humphrey's taught us anything. You got to get your world class basics.
How do they spell it? Do they spell it with just the E instead of the A, or?
Yeah, no, it was Forshaw.
It was Wayne Rooney. That's how they spelled it. From one very high-scoring England player to another.
Right.
Harry Kane
Dion
returned
Dublin.
to Spurs.
Yeah.
Dion Dublin had, what, 3 caps? Didn't score for England?
Yeah, I think he scored. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to apologise for that?
I'm sorry to Dean Dublin.
Dean Dublin.
Yeah. Dean Dublin. Head up. Just to get over it, why don't you head up to the stairs towards the bedrooms?
There we are.
Bag on your tube.
Harry Kane returned to Spurs, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for the first time. He got a warm welcome.
Imagine
Nice
if
to
they
see. That'd have been great if they'd have booed him. It'd have been so good. I liked how they brought him and Eric Dyer on at the same time, so Dyer could also enjoy.
Yeah.
The applause are for both players.
Just dilute it a bit.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Eric might come up into the stand again.
Bayern won.
Imagine if he caught that bloke.
He's back there.
At the corner of his eyes.
Like the chicken and Peter Griffin.
Yeah.
Constantly fighting.
Bayern beat Spurs 3-2 to lift the Visit Malta trophy.
The big one.
The big one.
Well, people, I have been to Malta. It's a lovely place. I'd thoroughly recommend it. Therefore, I think this
in
is
the pocket.
I think this is worth winning. Actually,
Are you in the
Peter.
pocket of
In
Big
the pocket,
Malta?
Big Malta.
Tiny Malta.
Are you a Maltese Marcus?
I would love to be. I really would be. Kane refused, and as a number of publications and people said, it was sheer class from Kane, who refused to lift the trophy in front of the Spurs fans. Sheer class. It's just class.
Is it because he didn't know how to do it?
Sometimes
what do you do?
Stuck in a railing.
sometimes it's a touch of
You're not
class.
supposed to eat that part of the fruit.
It's sheer class clapping emoji.
Yeah,
Class,
sometimes it's a touch of class, but
Respect.
this was sheer class.
Sheer class,
It was
yeah.
100% class. You couldn't get any more class than that.
So he didn't want to lift a trophy because he'd never lifted a trophy as a Spurs player. Is that the logic here?
No, I think it's because it's in front of his
It's
old
a shit
fans.
trophy.
And I think he's disrespecting the country.
No,
of Malta.
I think if he had lifted it, it meant contractually he'd have to visit Malta.
Right, yeah, fair.
So I'm
Yeah,
busy.
yeah. Busy.
Football season's about to start.
Lovely
I don't wanna do
place.
it, yeah.
I recommend
I'll
it.
give the tickets to Marcus. Maltese Marcus.
Marcus.
the Maltese Falcon.
Yeah, so it's just you and Joshua Kimmich, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Was that not like... Part of me was a little bit depressed by that, because the reason he's not doing that is because of fucking meme culture.
Right.
Yeah.
Trophies.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I don't think
It's for WhatsApp. It's not even meme culture. It's WhatsApp meme culture as well.
Yeah, it's just that bit of no, they're just gonna he's almost doing it for the Spurs fans generally, to be like, they're just going to get like all kinds of shit doing it.
I think so,
what does it matter? What does it matter if I ever visit Malta in my life?
Yeah, but I think the fact is that he didn't score. He came off for the last 10 minutes. It wasn't him who won that trophy.
But, no, of course.
Here's a question though: if Bayern Munich get to the Champions League final against Spurs, and
he'll obviously do it then.
Would he do it?
Yeah, of course he would.
There you go.
But the other
And
thing,
then he can visit Malta.
Yeah,
right.
The other thing about the vibe of the thing, I actually thought it was like the whole thing was quite nice.
It's no Algarve trophy that Fulham won.
No, of course, yeah. But do you not think like because of the nature of transfers, everything's quite cold and it happens all of a sudden, even if the Kane stuff essentially took 3 years to actually come to fruition. And like, because you always have to view it really coldly because it's like day-to-day reporting, clauses and all that kind of shit. And like, where do we want to go, blah, blah, blah. But actually getting to say goodbye, I know it was a year later.
You're right. It was,
but there's something to be said for that because he is he is one of their own. I know like people rip the piss out of it, but I don't know. I thought it was very sweet, and I thought it was good that they got to do that because you don't really get to do that anymore, do you?
He's probably the best ever player, right?
Yeah.
People would say he's probably the best ever player.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a bit different for sure.
Well, they've got a new man up top now, Spurs, though, in the form of Dominic Solanke.
Yeah, that caused a great consternation on the Ramble WhatsApp group.
It did, yeah.
All sorts of opinions flying around. Should we have a few of them now?
Well, Andy Brassel thought...
Can I give you gyms?
Andy Brassel thought it was quite a high transfer fee for 65 million. Luke, you said to him while you were sat in your ivory tower that money doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah. Oh, no, much Brassel gets paid, that's why.
Yeah. And since you've become an oil tycoon, you often smelt this.
I was high after the Pompey draw. I couldn't get enough of it.
After the Pompey point.
Yeah.
I think what we're all waiting for is Solanke to distort the market in such a way that Mateta gets bought for more than that.
Yeah.
And then we can really go in and out.
Surely Man United are going to go in for Mateta.
Almost certainly, depends.
Just for the way he tucks his shirt in.
I'd say so.
Shorts are very high.
Giving him injury for a year, we'll take him. Same wages, don't worry about it.
Solanke scored 19 goals in the league last season, and it was the first time he'd managed to score more than 10 in the top flight. But could he do a Harry Kane, if you remember that?
Get your Naruto mask on.
Yeah, there's all that. But Solanke's been highly rated for a while, and it was is he going to fulfil that potential and so on? Well, last season, boom, there he was, everybody. There he was. Some people saying he should have got into the England squad for the Euros, but £65 million, it is a lot of money. But I think the point you were actually making, Luke, that in this day and age, a transfer fee doesn't really mean that much because it's all a bit cray-cray.
It only means stuff for profit and sustainability. It doesn't mean, I don't think it's got any relevance to the quality of the player. And the reality is that if you've got someone who's put 20 plus goals away, he's 19 in the Premier League,
19 in the league,
but 21 overall, and you want to move from Premier League club to Premier League club. That's what it costs to prize him away. Like that's just how much it costs.
That's what it is, baby.
And so he'll have a load of pressure on him. And I'm not sure it would have been helped with Harry Kane coming to town at the weekend. But he's got to hit the ground running, and we'll see what he's made of. The interesting thing for me is that he's always, he made the move from Liverpool, of course, but it didn't really work out for him for lots of different reasons, to Bournemouth in the Premier League, went down to the Championship and then back up to the Premier League again. He's kind of found his straps again. But he's come up at a big club in Chelsea. He's gone. The transfer fee he went from Chelsea to Liverpool was quite sizable, given that he'd not really played.
Well, the reason he left was because he turned down a contract. He already had an idea of his worth.
Exactly.
It's crazy to think of him at Liverpool now.
Yeah.
That's mad. It's
and now he's going to a bigger club than Bournemouth in Spurs.
He's 26 as well.
And so he's getting to the point now where he's probably approaching his peak. So if he can hit the ground running again, it's interesting to say that, he's only had one big season in the Premier League, which of course he has. But across the last 3 or 4 seasons, he's scored quite a lot of goals. I think,
to say that is perhaps a little bit misleading. But I think we've been waiting for Solanke to kind of do a little bit more. And last season, it feels like it's like, right, he's clicked now, he's away.
And it's not just the goals, is it? No. Like the way he, the way he is on the ball, I think he's going to be perfect for them, really, because his touch is outstanding. He sees the game and he's not afraid to try things. There are a few goals last season that he scored where, there's one where he's got his back to goal, chest the ball down, like kind of Cruyff turns it into space, dinks it over the keeper.
Yeah.
It's like he has those pictures in his head.
Well, indeed, it's not the kind of, it doesn't feel like a one-season wonder. It feels like, as I say, like just things have happened and
feels
clicked.
Sustainable, doesn't it?
And also as well, if you think about the manager, Iraola, coming in, proper manager who tactically is obviously pretty astute and has got a lot out of that team and him in particular, you think, there you go. Because as you say, he came up at Chelsea, has played a little bit at Liverpool and so on. I think it bodes pretty well for Spurs. Of course, every single transfer is a gamble because you don't know how that player is going to fit into that system. And the fee is quite high, I would say, but I take your point, Luke, as well. So ultimately, it's a good signing for Spurs.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
You've got to say.
Totally agree.
Oh, dear. Right. What about Chelsea, eh? They do love a signing, and they've got a big one. Pedro Neto for £54 million. Were you surprised at this, Petey Poo?
Yeah, because he does carry an injury, doesn't he, old Neto? And I know they're owned by the City, Chelsea, but this is basically day trading at this point, isn't it? It's just
it's crazy.
Like Potter had players sitting on the floor because there weren't enough seats for them.
Yeah.
Like, it's untenable. I don't know what they're doing. This seems to be very much the Chelsea's owners just speculating to accumulate further down the line, and it's not a footballing story, is it?
48. That's like 48 first team players now.
Yeah, the first team picture was like you needed a panoramic.
Is it under 25? You can no, it's under 21s. You can have unlimited amounts, can't you?
Yeah,
over the top of the squads, Premier League squads.
But as you know, at the time of recording, there's only 11 players on the pitch. That's the main.
So they've made 10. They've made 10 signings in the transfer window already. It's looking like that's going to become 12 players. I know there's some issues now with signing, with doing deals with Atletico Madrid and so on and so forth. But at the moment, it's looking like they're going to make 12 signings. That would mean they have 50 players listed in the senior squad.
Moneyball.
Why? But it's kind of the opposite of Moneyball, isn't it? Because it's like they treat inverted wingers as burner phones.
Yeah,
maybe.
They've got 8 keepers.
Well, yeah, they've signed Mike Penders from.
Not even a real player.
Not a real player.
Have you signed some? It's like that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like Todd Bowley has told someone to sign someone, and he's turned up early, and the guy's not done it yet. He's going, did you sign that 8th goalkeeper?
Mike Penders.
Yeah. Who did you sign? Mike Penders?
Yeah, from Belgium. Which club?
Julie Anderton.
Mike Penders. Are you looking at my suspenders? Yes, I am.
Well, Peter, he'll be there.
You've just watched The Usual Suspect, haven't you? Why is this the lesson you've taken from it?
Mike Penders is 6'7", and he plays.
And he plays like heaven.
He's a goalkeeper, obviously. He'll be their 8th senior goalkeeper. So when you said this is unsustainable, Peter, you're not getting.
It's sustainable if you need to climb over something tall.
I don't understand. Mike,
fix the roof by getting on each other's shoulders.
Okay, what are the chances of playing? You're going to be our 8th choice keeper.
Yeah. Why is that striker wearing a trench coat?
And for Europa Conference League games, you may get on the bench, you may not.
I know, like European football dictates that you need a bigger squad, but
if you're a Chelsea fan going to a Europa Conference League game, it's going to be like a fucking blind date. You're not going to know what's going on.
At this point, it's
who's turning up?
It's crowd control. You're going to need to kettle them.
Well, he's lighting this photo.
Yeah. In the League Cup, I mean, it could really work out well for them because you think the opposition manager will be like, right, you've got to close down that player, and it's kind of like, we've no idea, we've never seen any of these people.
I know what it is.
How can we?
It's Chelsea, isn't it? They're getting enough people together for a right-wing riot.
That's a good point, actually, yeah. Rights to assemble, Chelsea FC.
Can he throw a brick at a policeman?
I'm duty bound to say that's naughty.
Those flames I'm obsessed with before the start of the match.
Yeah.
Put it in a bin.
Petrol
Look what you've done to Vish.
Yeah,
We've done to Vish.
All right.
Oh, he's Will. The 6th choice keeper's Will.
I live in West London. I've got to call my parents and leave.
Get out.
The 6th choice keeper's wheeled a wheelie bin at a police officer.
Mr. President, an 8th keeper has joined Chelsea.
All week now, my Twitter's going to be Mike Penders is actually a really good goalkeeper. You know what you're talking about, and not all of us are racist. Yeah,
and check their likes. I can't anymore.
Yeah, can't do it.
Well, you know, he's really worried about free speech in this country.
Yeah,
Musketeer, yeah,
exactly.
That's
obsessed,
right.
Isn't he?
He would defend Chelsea's right to sign as many players as they want.
There you go,
for free speech reasons.
He would, the silly sod. Right. A transfer looks like it's going to be happening between Liverpool and Brentford.
Yeah, you're angry about this.
Fabio Carvalho looks set to move to Brentford from Liverpool for £27.5 million.
Not having this?
What was the point, Liverpool? What was the point?
How much did they sign him from you?
Can't remember. I never sold them anything, though.
But Fulham get 20% of this fee, though.
Yeah, what was the point of that?
No, you were fuming about it this morning.
A delightful player, a lovely player who was brilliant for Fulham. Just a delight to see that man
play. Sad little life, Jane.
I'm totally with you. I feel like,
he was never going to play for them. I remember when that signing happened, I was like, He's not. Why are you doing this? It was a pretty big fee. You know as well as I do, he's not going to fit into that system.
7.7 million it was.
Yeah, and so I mean, not as huge, not massively high, but it was a bit of a controversial one at the time. And I was like, don't go. But I understand why you want to go because it's Klopp's Liverpool. I get it, but just naughty.
But Marcus, the thing that would annoy me as a Fulham fan more than anything else wouldn't be the fact that he signed for Brentford, who are an exciting team. I'm not. It's when they put him on loan to Hull.
Yeah, exactly. Well, RB Leipzig. Well, okay, fine.
Yeah,
they're a side of there's a bit going on there, but we went back down into the Championship. Played well for Hull as well, but I just look at that and go, what?
You need to kind of, if you sign a young player as a big club, someone needs to go, maybe, I don't know, social services come around and how are you going to use him?
Yes, exactly.
Show us how you're going to, where is he going to play? How many minutes he's going to get?
Exactly.
Show us.
Yeah, and
then we'll decide if he can.
Have they childproof the house?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're gonna buy. If you're going to buy a dog from a dog home or something, they come round because basically if
pedigree dog as well is there's very stringent tests.
Yeah, they go round and they say, right, where's the dog going to live and all that kind of stuff. And
I know what's happened is Fabio Carvalho's seen the way the wind's blowing and he's gone to his agent. Can you get me near to Chelsea? Can you get me just near there? Because if I bump into Bowley down Brentford High Street or on the King's Road, I've got a chance.
He has got a chance.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching a clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're feeling extra generous, why don't you like this video? Why don't you like this video?